Dobré poledne, odpoledne. Já bych vás jenom chtěla přivítat tady v prostoru INI na vlastně přednáškovém bloku.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome you at the series of lecture which is organized by Alternative School within the Ecumenic Academy. It's being supported by Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung on the topic of social reproduction. The series of this lecture, I have decided to organize it and hold it based on the book which was published last year. The book is primarily about how certain inconsistencies, social inconsistencies do reproduce. It's actually the part of our lives after the work hours. It's the caring for children, how we perceive sexuality, gender. The topic is quite interesting and very wide, and I would like to have it framed in one block of lectures. I would like to introduce Hana Janečková, who is to host the first panel. Thank you. During the first panel, we shall have Hana Janečková, Kateřina Kolářová and Matěj Metelec. Hana Janečková, Kateřina Kolářová will introduce their lectures as the first. In case that we will have time available, you will have an opportunity to ask questions, and Matěj Metelec will join a little later. First of all, I would like to introduce Hana Janečková, who is a theorist, artist, currently living in Prague, and sometimes in London. She studied visual arts at Chelsea College of Art and Design at King's College in London. Now she's giving lectures at the Faculty of Film Arts. One of her projects in Prague was Multilux Now. She organized together with Zuzana Jakalová in Display Gallery. She also publishes in many magazines, newspapers. She works for Flash Art and the Czech version of Flash Art. And I will give her the floor right now. I'm really glad I didn't have to introduce myself. As for my lecture, I will, in my lecture, if you won't mind me sitting, I would prefer sitting because I had to undergo an operation quite recently. Love must be colder than capital, which translated into Czech is Láska musí být chladnější než kapitál. I have decided for the title of the lecture because I wanted to focus primarily on how social reproduction images do correlate with effective work. When I started to draft the lecture, I realized it would take me at least 3 hours, that it's really a huge topic, very vast topic, so I will try to focus primarily on the very start of the discussion. I have available roughly 20 minutes. I'm not sure if I will fit in to the 20 minutes. I have 20 slides available. Anička, if when I'll be approaching my time limit, please let me know. As I'm interested in arts, I will be talking primarily about visual culture and relationship between the current images of social reproduction, how you can find them on internet, social media, YouTube. I will try to compare what role social reproduction images played during the course of 70s, during the second wave of feminism, because it was for the first time when the feminist movement It was when feminist movement was closely connected to feminist artistic movements, at least in Western Europe. And these are definitely the limits of my lecture, that I will try to focus on the connection and relationship with Western countries, Western Europe, because the second wave actually did not occur in the Czech Republic because we had state-sponsored paternalistic pattern in the then Czechoslovakia. The reason why I consider this to be important topic is that to a certain extent what I would like to focus on is how during the course of the 70s, these artistic movements, feminist movements, tried to solve social issues, feminist social issues, and in particular, the isolated woman household. Maybe in Czech Republic we didn't have isolated women in the households, but we definitely had women who were working in two shifts, sort of to a certain extent, because they had to work and do their own jobs, and then they started to work anew at home. That was the reality in the 70s. That definitely was the true. And I'm convinced that during the course of the 70s, the second wave of feminism tried to solve it based on feminist principles, autonomy, collectivism, and cooperation. Cooperation is very, very important for feminist movement. If we will have a look at feminism as a movement, whatever happens within feminist movement and what they have achieved during the course of the last 40 years is primarily based on the idea of mutual cooperation in physical environment. And I would like to ask, what happens to the idea of cooperation currently, because we don't have anymore the figure of a woman isolated in the household, because the role of women has significantly changed from the 70s. But still, what the work looks like, how it's perceived by social media in connection to gender, and how the current feminism looks like from the point of view of artistic perception. I will always try to take into account a couple of examples. Just take into account, please, the fact that I'm limited by 20 minutes, so I really can't speak about and talk about what occurs through the whole world. So I have selected carefully particular phenomena of visual culture. On this, I would like to add, when I'll be talking about women, I don't have on mind a homogeneous group, but it's a group of human beings who are not identified, don't identify themselves as men. That could be the LGBT community, etc. So these are the questions I would like to respond during the course of my lecture. I have already mentioned it. I have focused primarily on the second thesis, what are the possibilities of feminist cooperation in the atmosphere of digital surveillance. I would say we are living the digital surveillance and the post-digital environment, how it perceives the gender, work, free time, and what role the images of social reproduction do play. Back in the 70s, wages for housework. As I have mentioned already, during the course of the 70s, there was a phenomena of a lonely woman the household doing a lot of hard work, not paid. Feminism responded to it by creating groups of women, which were both the artistic groups and political groups. If you have a look at the picture in the middle, that's Woman House, that was back in 1972, the first educational group, Susan Lacey. It was established in Los Angeles, and these were actually the mothers of the feminist movement of Western world in the 70s. They have established this group, Woman House. They responded to the needs of women isolated at household. It was advantageous for men to have isolated women who could care of the children. As for artistic movements and groups, these artistic groups were mutually interconnected to feminist movement, and or the works or books published do reflect the experience of a woman at home. We have Chantal Ackerman on the picture here. That's Carrie My West. And here we have a very well-known video semiotic kitchen. What was really important, and is still very important, was the role of personal experience. The role of personal experience is important for feminism, and I really would like to know what the personal experience plays, what role personal experience in the current post-digital period. I would say the personal experience from household, from homes. As for the cooperation of artistic movements and groups was of great importance. Apart from the Woman House, it were Hackney Flashers and many others in New York. It was, for example, Heresies magazine, which actually was surrounded by the feminist group. Cooperation and collectivism currently. For the second wave of feminism, the physical space was of greatest importance. It's still more and more precious. It's be it London or New York, out of sudden you can discover how difficult it is to have gallery of this type, how difficult it is for the gallery to survive. Gentrification, neoliberal conditions do push these sort of establishments more and more far away. So it's of greatest importance to ask questions, how groups of human beings work and how internet helps us, supports us, and on the other hand, how it isolates us, how social media, when discussing algorithms, these are topics I could talk a lot about, but I will try to get to slightly different position, but how social media do shape our social experience, how social media use personal experience. That is a very, very important for gold. It would be actually a gold dust, because what personal experience, that is what really sells extremely well in social media.
Takže k tomu bych se chtěla I would like to show you this picture, household work nowadays. I would like to show you a context, visual context of what I'm talking about. To show you the context. These videos, I wanted to show you two examples. Some of us use Instagram, so we know how today people present themselves, especially women. And one of the phenomena is the phenomenon of using YouTube for creating these videos that show how the labor has changed, how it works also on a personal level. One of the examples, these are shopping videos. Nowadays, many young women go shopping and then they go on YouTube and show what they have bought. And I have to say that this video, for example, I don't know if you can see it here, has 1,500,000 views. So these videos are extremely popular. Somebody actually only shows you what they have bought. So they show you their personal taste. Usually, it's a young white woman, well-looking woman that shows you her purchases, or she shows you how to do a good makeup tutorial. Another phenomenon on YouTube, ASMR videos. I don't know if you have heard of them or if you watch them sometimes. I have to say that I actually enjoy these videos. Some of these videos last 1 hour. When I prepared for this presentation, I watched one of these videos to check it, to do the screen graph. And I'm watching this woman here, who is one of my favorite ones. She shows, as you can see, she's a young, attractive woman, but not provocative sexually. Sometimes also men do this. Usually these are East European women. They have an East European accent, and they usually provide social reproduction services. So, for example, they pretend they do a massage, and they use the qualities of the screen. They touch the camera in such a way. It's a certain way of neurological or haptic connection. They often comb their hair, or they pretend they comb your hair, or various sounds like touching a cup or a glass. They use these stimuli that, in a way, induce this atmosphere of relaxation. I would like to emphasize that these are usually such pictures of social reproduction used today. Those usually these videos happen in a kitchen, bedroom, places of relaxation. Life is replicated here and is maintained here, and these places are usually perceived places like a kitchen or our room, our bedroom. which for feminist criticism, of course, is this perception has all been criticized for a long time already. I talked about Silvia Federici and wages for housework, where Silvia Federici has stressed the role of unpaid household work. However, what do these videos actually show? It's a role of emotional work and the role of emotional work that women perform. So places for indivisible emotional work, work that was invisible. There's also this emotional work like care that's invisible, that all of us will need or have needed as children, or that we need when we are sick. So when social reproduction does not work, life does not work. So these are such images. What is interesting about this change in work, household labor, is in the virtual or post-digital environment gets transformed. What is important for these women is that these women often have to pretend, or in some cases they really care for their followers. This is an example of labor feminization. It is a term I could explain for a long time. However, I could theorize about it. However, this is work that offers a certain flexibility, a possibility to work when they can. It's a kind of job that women can do even when they take care of their children. This work on YouTube, on social media, is fully dependent on the economy of attention and algorithmic calculations of Google, for example, and they often change these calculations. So it is a job without any social security. I think there's a certain trade union of workers on YouTube, for example. However, this trade union works only if you are some top designer of computer games. These roles then are or confirm the conventional women's roles. A woman has to be attractive, so at least on the screen, if possible, healthy and white. If you are white, more people will watch your videos if you're a white woman rather than a woman of color. I would like to go through this quickly. I don't have much time left. How does feminist art respond to this nowadays? Besides care for one's followers, also the illusion of personal experience is important in this case. So in a certain way, you are in contact with an actual person. You can almost have a friendly relationship with that person. For many people who follow these videos, or when you read the commentaries, many young women or girls want to be friends with the woman who shows that great makeup or something like that. So and the contemporary art has responded to this. I wanted to show you two examples very quickly. It's work of American performer Anne Hirsch. Anne Hirsch. try to find somebody who works with these formats. These artists use selfies and use their own videos. I found one Slovak girl who somebody had sent to me, but I have not found her name. She works with the ASMR format with those kinds of videos, and it is a very nice video. If you are interested, I can send it to you. This type of selfies using self, I have not really seen much though here. It does not really work here much. It's only my speculative opinion though. I believe the reason is that nowadays the Czech academies are patriarchal, and if you tried to do something like that at the Czech Academy of the Arts, they would tell you something like this. You may have a feeling that my presentation is not sufficiently elaborated or artistic. Maybe you think that I should think more about myself and how others receive me. What do I mean by that? And by that, I think I will have to finish my lecture. And Anne Hirsch in 2008 used YouTube, and she put herself in a that girl Caroline, and she created a character of Caroline, and her goal was. At the beginning, it was not an artistic project. She was lonely at the university, and the internet seemed like a safe place for her to examine self-presentation of women and girls. She was interested in interaction in internet communities, and even though it became an artistic project, Anne Hirsch realized that the border between her identity and the character of Caroline is actually falling apart. She got about 1.5 million followers, and every evening I would show this to you. However, we don't have time now. Those are videos that when I saw that, it irritated me. It's a young girl who dances for the camera, jumps around and changes clothes, and sings songs with Bonnie Tyler in a very bad way. However, it's very personal. It seems that she created an authentic character for her followers, and it worked in a very effective way in order to examine how women nowadays present themselves on the internet. And it worked as a critical potential, and I think that it did a really good job. This work took about 1 year, and in a systematic way she created this internet community. And if you are interested in this, I will send you links to this, and a lot has been written about it. She became quite famous as a result, and she used the mode of selfies quite a lot, just like Amalia Ullmann, who 6 years later, in 2014, focused on the role of personal experience and how women self-represent themselves on the internet. So what I would like to say is that I wanted to show you the type of social pictures. This is usually done in a subjective mode, and I wanted to show you the impact of them. We can criticize this as a narcissistic kind of work that they don't really contribute anyhow. However, their subjectiveness is significant also, not only on the individual level. What happened since 2018 when feminism came in art, the fourth wave in the Czech Republic. There are many movements here, like Anna Mendieta in London. Those are all platforms that use this publicity on social media to some extent. They use selfies. And if we don't see directly any benefits or critical potential of Amalia Ullmann's or Anne Hirsch's work, the reflection of what has happened in the feminist movement can be seen. What I would like to mention, and that's my final point, that this selfie has given a possibility and visibility to groups not visible before. So if when people are sick or disabled, for example, these communities, these internet communities are very important for them. And it is important for us to ask and come back to the idea of collaboration. Because over the past 50 years, it has been proved that the long-term political goals in feminism can be achieved only by actual long-term collaboration and sharing lives. So how to transfer these types of feminism that are on the internet and how to transfer them into the physical environment, and how to achieve that these groups can work on specific feminist political goals. I apologize for this accelerated second part. However, thank you very much.